Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. My name is Joris and today I'm going to talk about how I did in the stock market game of Finanz und Wirtschaft. So, Finanz und Wirtschaft made the FuW-Börsenspiel and it started on the 13th of May 2024 and it ended last Friday on the 5th of July. So it lasted for 8 weeks and we received the starting capital of 100,000 Swiss francs and you needed to invest at least 75,000 Swiss francs so that you were able to participate into the competition. So why I like those competitions, I already mentioned it in the video that I made about stock market games, but I'm going to repeat them here. So normally you look always at the same stocks, but when you're in a competition, you also look at different stocks than usual because most of the time you want to win, of course. It gives another thrill to the stock market than usual. So normally you are just investing into the stock market and there isn't an outside competition that plays a role as well. But in this case, the last 8 weeks, they were kind of fun. And beginners can get a little bit of a feel for how to invest. So it's paper investing then. And certainly when it is on an actual investment platform, sadly enough, this competition isn't on an actual investment platform. I think Swissquote should do an effort here because the competition is lacking there a bit. But on the other hand, it's better than just paper trading at home, being in a little competition. Why I don't like those competitions are the following points. When you are a dividend investor, most of the time you are screwed in this kind of competitions, and in this one it was the case as well. The time frame is actually short, only 8 weeks. It's terrible. When derivatives are allowed, like options and call options and put options, normal investors don't have a chance of ever winning the competition, and most of the time the returns are not like in real life. In this case, it's certainly the case because we aren't on a platform and they were just calculating every day with the same percentage again. So, for example, when you had 10 stocks, each for 10%, and one rose 10%, so it's actually 11% of your wallet right now. The next day, it was again at 10%. So your profit of 1,000 Swiss francs was distributed equally over the other 9 stocks as well. And I didn't like that at all. And another important thing is beginners can get confused about what is actually good investing because in this case the time frame is short. So if you want to win, you have to gamble, and gambling on the stock market isn't the way to go. And yeah, trading, gambling, I'm not a fan of it. So I like actual investing for the long term. So that's what I did as well for this competition. And the capital they provide is actually quite high, so 100,000 Swiss francs. And this may give beginners the impression that you need to start with a high amount to start investing. But actually 500 to 1,000 Swiss francs, it's enough to start investing, and it isn't peanuts at all. How did I do? Well, there were 10,517 players at the end of the game. It were around 8,200 in the beginning of the competition. And I ended with 100,815 Swiss francs and ended at place 5,333. So, as I predicted, I was going to end somewhere halfway the pack. It's almost always the case. In Belgium, it was the same when I participated in the stock market game of de financiële tijd, financiële economische tijd. And I'm actually not unhappy about it, because ending halfway the pack, it's really great if you are a normal investor. And I also ended in the middle of the pack of the famous people, and I had a lot of fun with my colleague. He ended on place 5,656 with 100,569 Swiss francs. So he did great as well. And don't forget that the SMI went from 11,747.76 points to 12,006.14 points. So it went up, in fact, 2.20%. So I went only up 0.8%. So 0.815%. So I underperformed the SMI. And that's, of course, I can't invest in all 20 stocks. I could have done it with all of them at 5%, and I would have had the SMI result. But yeah, you need to have a little bit of fun as well. So I took a bit of a gamble as well. So how did my portfolio ended up? So I had 15% in Avolta, 20% in Nestle, 15% in Sika, 15% in Roche, 20% in Kuehne+Nagel, and 15% in Swatch Group. As you know, I had Logitech 20% in the beginning, and I switched that one out for Kuehne+Nagel. And I had Stadler in the beginning as well, and I switched that out for I think Avolta. So there, Stadler was 15% and it went to Avolta after the dividend. And if you look at the investment, so here I'm first going to show you this. So the SMI, how it performed. So it opened at 11,747.76 points, and then it made more or less this graph. So a first bump, then another bump, and then it stayed equal for the rest of the time. And if you look at my graph, it's more or less the same. So you had the first bump, then the second bump, and then more or less equal at the end of the period. And I only was negative for one day on the 29th of May, where I had a loss of a little bit over 0.5%. But for the rest, I was positive. Sometimes in the beginning, I was at 11 francs profit. Then after 2 weeks, I was on 44 Swiss francs profit. And after 6 weeks and a half, I was at 11 francs profit again. So just like here at the beginning. So after one day. So it's a little bit crazy, but that's how it goes on the stock market, and certainly with such a high amount. And if you look at the famous people, there you can see that there were two people in the minus. So Beat Schlatter and Grigo Stucki. He was negative, and Beat Schlatter was negative as well. And after 1 week, actually, the Grigo was on top of the famous people, but in the end, the founder of Swissquote, Mark Burki, he came out on top of the famous people with 114,225 Swiss francs. He had a few winners like ISM Osram and IMS Osram and Kuros as well. He had in his portfolio. And if you scroll down even further, you can see the end performance of the winner. So Super Scoopy 3106 with a profit of 25%. It's incredible how he performed, and yeah, he really outperformed the SMI for sure. And Neuron, that's a firm where I took a look at because I didn't know the firm at all, but now it's on my radar. And the winner, as I said, Super Scoopy, congratulations to you. And he did it with Ipsomet, Sulzer, Kuros, Swissquote, and Neuron. Probably he traded a lot, but you can't see that. And that's one of the things that I would change in this competition. For my strategy, I'm not going to change anything. I don't want to win the competition. I am just one of the boring investors that hopes for the best with a steady investment. Sometimes it can turn out really great and I can win 1 week, but this time it wasn't the case. And the format of the game, yeah, it's the way it is, but it's okay. You know the rules, and if you know the rules, you should also invest like it. But it would be nice if it would be a bit more realistic. And I'm looking at the direction of Swissquote for this because, yeah, you are working together. Finanz und Wirtschaft is working together with Swissquote, so it would be nice if they have a more realistic platform to invest on because selling and buying in this competition, it's actually quite annoying. The buying is okay, but selling, you never know for what amount your stock is going to be sold because you have to make the changes in the evening, and then when it opens, then your stock is being traded away, and your other stock is being bought, and that's a bit annoying. Also, the trading history should be visible. This way, certainly from other people that are in the top 10, that you know how they are doing the things in hindsight, not in the moment itself, but after the competition is finished, you should be able to see the trading history of the people. I think it would be really interesting to have that knowledge in hindsight. And then for sure, I'm a dividend investor, and the dividend problem in this competition needs to be fixed. I saw somebody in the top 10 that had a stock that was going to issue a dividend of 4%. They still had it in their portfolio, and yeah, on the morning of the dividend, ex-dividend date, he just lost the 4%, and the stock, it was performing quite well the days before, but then suddenly losing 4% just because of the dividend expiring, that's really annoying. So I had it in the back of my head, and I sold Stedler 2 days before the dividend, and I bought Avolta with it because Avolta had its dividend on the Monday before the ex-dividend date of Stedler on the Friday. So I changed it like that. On Wednesday evening, I put in the order sell Stedler and buy Avolta. But yeah, it's annoying that you need to do it because you know that most of the time, the day before the dividend goes ex dividend, the stock goes up, and in this competition, the percentage rise is always important. So missing out on that one day, it's terrible. And also, you lose the dividend. So the 4%, the guy that was in the top 10, he didn't even receive the money for the dividend. So that's also a thing that would be make it more realistic. But that's just complaining. I had a lot of fun every day talking to my colleague how he made changes because he traded a lot. I didn't trade a lot. I only did two sells and two buys in the whole 8 weeks. Well, he traded a lot. He made more than 4 or 5 trades every week. So that's not me for sure. but in the end I came out on top. It was really exciting, especially the last week. He was 4 behind, but then he bought Ipsomet and it was performing really great. So with that being said, I thank you for watching this one. See you in the next video on my YouTube channel, and bye.